Crocodile Dundee is a 1986 American-Australian production, and I feel like taking a little bit of a break from horror, which I've been doing all of October, and stepping into a little bit of a comedy. Now, Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles is the first film out of the three that I've seen, and I remember seeing it as a kid, and it's been so long since I've seen that one. But I bought the first two recently. I don't even remember much of the second one at all, if I even watched it before, because I honestly remember nothing about it. So if I have seen any of it, it would have just been clips. But I really enjoyed this one. I literally just finished watching it. I didn't take any notes for it, so I'm just basically gonna wing this review pretty much. We start off with a reporter named Sue, and she takes on a job to go down to Australia and basically observe the land, report on the land, and she meets this guy that's down there named Michael J. Crocodile Dundee, and he's played by Paul Hogan, and this guy is just built on badassery pretty much. So she decides that he's going to be her tour guide, on the Australian outback and whatnot, and she's going to observe his life and his lifestyle, and basically how he lives in the outback pretty much. So she goes down, she meets him. Like I said, this guy is made of badass. I mean, there's stories going on around him that he survived this huge crocodile attack, that like half his leg was missing. Obviously everything's exaggerated, but it is true that he did apparently get attacked by a crocodile and dragged underwater, and then he fought off the crocodile and killed it and whatnot. It's not a true story, it's a fictional story, but in the story that's what happens. And he's at a pub at the beginning of the film, and he brings in like this stuffed crocodile, and he's like pretending to wrestle it and shit like that. Paul Hogan just does such a great job playing the character. He really brings him to life. I like the scenes how he's able to communicate with animals. Like he's able to communicate with that I don't know what it is, a ram or something like that, or he does this whole thing, and like he's able to put the ram to sleep and whatnot to get through because the ram's blocking the road. There's scenes where he actually does, wrestle crocodiles, whether they're real or not. But obviously this woman ends up falling in love with the guy too, because he's, he protects her in a lot of ways throughout the first half of the film. He also says a lot about the Aboriginal people, because there's one scene where she asks him how he feels about the Aboriginal people, like whether they should own the land or something, or how they feel about the land being taken from them, and he says like they don't own the land in a possession sort of way. The land already belongs to them in like a sense of being part of them. So he talks about this whole, he goes on this ordeal that like people don't necessarily own anything, and he's not about possessions, he's not about things like that. He's about nature being like a mother figure, and just embracing the beauty without any idea of ownership, which I really liked that part. And then half of the movie is in Australia, but then the other half is when he goes to New York, and that's when it really gets funny, because he's so not used to that culture, and he's so not used to a crowded city. He doesn't know what an escalator is. And I'm telling you, the best thing about this film is how much of a product of its time it was, because I don't think a lot of things in this film could be made today. I mean, his limo driver ends up being a black guy, and he asks him what tribe he's from. It's so bad, but it's funny at the same time because of like the character, and like being such a product of the 80s. It's really funny. One of the best is when he's at a bar. He asks, his cab driver, he asks to go hang out at the bar, and the cab driver's like, sure, my shift's over and whatnot, because Mick, they call him Mick in the movie. He's pretty much friendly with everybody, because in Australia that's how he is. So he's just talking to every random person in New York. So he invites the cab driver to the bar, and he's flirting with this woman, and he's flirting heavy with the woman, and the the cab driver, his new friend, is trying to pull him away, like, come here, and he's like, yo, that's not a woman, that's actually a guy, like that's a trans woman, and he's like, he has no idea what he's talking about because he thought it was literally a woman. He's like, that's a woman. So he goes up to the woman and the trans woman and grabs her by the crotch, and he's like, that's a guy. Fuck. So not PC. But you know what the thing is, like, it's comedy. It's comedy. Like, I'm not, like, people just need to stop being sensitive about those things because it's a joke. It goes with the character. Obviously, it's a product of his time, and times are different today, but it goes with the character, and it's an 80s movie. Like, this is not the channel where I'm going to be, um, you know, trying to censor what I say and what I don't, because comedy is comedy, and, you know, can you take a joke too far? Obviously. Is that one of them? No. It's just funny. It's funny. it's you know, you're dealing with a guy who's never been into a big city, is like straight out of the outback. How would he know what a trans woman is? You know what I mean? Like, it's just it's funny, and it makes me laugh, and I really love the character. I really love the film. Paul Hogan was great. It's too bad he didn't do much outside of like this. Like, this was what he was known for. I remember him being in the film Flubber with not Flubber, Flipper. Sorry, the dolphin movie with Elijah Wood. But I haven't seen that since I was a kid either. It would have been in the '90s. Um, but but yeah, like, he's great in it, and the New York scenes are really nice. I love when he climbs the pole, like the street pole, to see like across traffic because the crowd like is so large that he can't see where he's going, and he thinks it's just normal to climb the pole to see ahead of himself. And then there's a cop on a horse that gives him a ride back to his hotel. I found that funny. Now the ending is cheesy. The ending is really cheesy. But I'll get to the ending in a sec. Just one more scene that I wanted to talk about is the restaurant scene, because Sue is she has a not a, no, because he didn't propose yet. So she has a boyfriend, a man that she's been seeing for a long time, who does end up proposing later on in the film. But when they're at a restaurant, this guy is just completely acting totally out of line and being a complete pompous douchebag asshole to Mick. And they're at an Italian restaurant, and he's like speaking Italian, thinking he's better than Mick. He's like, oh, I don't think they have like kangaroo steaks here and stuff like that. It's just, he's just going on and on. He's just being an absolute dick. And Mick just tells him to turn around, and he hits him like on the neck, like on a certain part that makes him not pass out, but almost paralyzed and like droopy, like he can't, like jelly like kind of thing. And he's like, yeah, can't handle his drink, mate. Can't handle his drink. Um, and yeah, the like it's he's just badass. Like, he's one of the best characters of the '80s for sure. And I think an underrated one, because I don't hear these films talked about a lot. Maybe it's because of the non PC culture. Maybe it's because they're just they went under the radar. They I don't know. Like, these don't even have Blu-ray releases, I don't think. Not that I've ever seen, but regardless, I'm going to be reviewing the second one as well. I don't own Crocodile Dundee in Los Angeles yet, but I'm looking for it, and obviously I'll be reviewing it when I can. But yeah, that's Crocodile Dundee from 1986, and it's a lot of fun. And yeah, to talk about the ending too, it's extremely cheesy. They're in a subway, and I love how Sue, after getting proposed to, figures out that she doesn't want to marry this guy, so she actually legitimately runs to the subway to chase Paul Hogan down, or Mick, and she's trying to shout across at him, but he's like way on the other side of the crowd. So she has a bunch of people like transfer the messages to him. So she yells at one guy, and then the one guy yells at the other guy, and then the other guy yells at Mick, and then Mick yells back, and then to the other guy, and to Sue. So corny, a little too corny, I would say. Like, it was like, yeah, like that's a little cheese. That's a lot of cheese in there, but it was still cool at the same time. Like it kind of fit the happy ending kind of trope. But anyways, yeah, that's all I got on Crocodile Dundee. I'm gonna be reviewing the second one soon, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe to Morgan Film Fan if you like to listen to my voice, or if you like my film reviews. And till next review, take care. Cheers.